Yo, what up, y'all? It's been a while. It's been a long time. Been a long time. Needless to say, I haven't really been paying much attention to what's been going on, even with my own team, let alone the league, but still lending the ear to do my part behind the scenes. When I got commissioners reaching out to me, I still been knowing what's going on. I just haven't been locked into the point like to even play my own games and stuff. Trying to get some things done over here. So when you got things going on, the last thing you're thinking about is a game. We do this for recreation. So when it's time to take care of some important stuff, recreation could never get in the way of that. So that's been the case with me. But I've been knocking out a lot of different things. So I'm gonna start having a few more open windows to do some things, and to all those, I got this live cast right now, all chats. So anybody in the AGS chat or ITT chat looking at this playoff screen, this is from the other league, my other league with. So, but I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. So I wanted everybody from even all the other leagues to just listen up. But again, to anybody that's in AGS or ITT, what you're looking at is a playoff screen from WIT. So I know you probably like, what is this? But I'm going to start off what I want to talk with first. So once I start getting ready to go over this recap and the predictions, anybody that's in the other leagues can just tune out. You ain't got to listen to this. This won't apply to the other leagues. But this, I just wanted to get everybody, as many people as possible to tune in to hear what I want to talk about. Now, we're going to start out with casting, right? Some of you guys still making casting a difficult thing. For the life of me, I can't figure out why. We've had suspicions about someone cast watching or what they call it, what it was called, Skype casting or something. I forgot the name for it, but that person that was being accused of that is no longer in the league, right? And technically, I don't even know if that was going on, but sometimes, man, when you add up a lot of suspicious things, it could definitely lead to something. That person is no longer in the league. Now, that person is not in the league no more because of that. I'm just saying, snipe watching, that's what it was called. I'm just saying that the person, stream sniping. I'm just saying that the person that was being accused of stream sniping is no longer in the league. He's been booted, but he haven't been booted because of that. But I'm just saying, one too many people were saying that. So I'm just saying, me personally, I really don't think nobody does that. But some guys get paranoid and panic, and I don't know. But in any case, man, I don't make a lot of rules for the league. I try to keep things simplistic as possible, right? I don't come up with a whole bunch of stuff about what you can't do. And any rules I have for the league is not catered to myself. It's catered for the league to run a certain way. If we have rules, I'm just saying, and I said this numerous times, if we have rules, right, then therefore the games have to be seen, right? Because if I play somebody and there's no footage, I can easily hit up a commissioner and say, yo, the dude went forward on 4th and 5 behind the 50, right? And the opponent going to say, yo, he lying. But if I don't have no footage, who word am I taking? You understand? So that's why footage is important. So it's for purpose of the rules, right? It's also fun for the league, right? How many times we seen somebody play a big game of the week, or a playoff game, or a Super Bowl game, and people tune in to watch. So it's fun, it's dope for the league, to be able to watch other people play, But more importantly, is we have rules, These are all, I don't know why I just lost connection. Did I lose connection? Yeah, I lost connection, right? Let me see. Is my cast still on at least? So the cast is on, but it's saying I lost connection. So I don't know what that's about. But again, that's Madden for you, because I've been hearing Madden been tripping anyway lately as far as the whole casting thing. People cast been getting cut off, without even being aware of it and things like that. So, I don't know. I don't know. I can't call it. But anyway, man, like I said, the screen, the casting is for different purposes, but some of you guys make it difficult for that. And I'm telling you now, for all you guys, right, that make things difficult and refuse to do things the right and smooth way, come next Madden, when it's time to pick teams, I'm going to remember that. You understand? So if you don't get certain teams, don't be surprised. You know what I mean? Don't be surprised if you got to give me a total of 6 teams or 7 teams on top of the 3 that you already gave me. It's because, come on, I can't keep rewarding guys who not doing the right thing. You understand? In any case, I always try to mix up teams in every league, right? If you gave me 3 teams in one league and you didn't get one of those 3, you're guaranteed to get one of those 3 teams in the next league. And each and every one of y'all know that. There has been nobody that's never got a team that they wanted in any league that was in their top 3. Not one person in here. To the people that I don't really care about, you know what I'm saying? And I still look out. And to be honest with you, the only person that I really didn't care about is no longer in the league, because he just brought a whole bunch of nonsense to the league, And he should have been booted a long time ago, honestly speaking. And for anybody wondering what I'm talking about Rick James. You know what I mean? Like, you don't always need a bunch of nonsense going on, man. Like, this is a Madden league on the game, dude. Like, nobody want to hear about a lot of stuff that's out. Nobody want to hear about nothing really that doesn't concern with the league. Like, but that just be funny to me how a lot of y'all guys just get caught up in talking about this and talking about that, and it's like, what does that have to do with the game? But I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on the casting thing, but I will get to the main thing that I wanted to get to now. And the main thing that I want to talk about is there's been a lot of guys that's been talking about they haven't got their upgrade. Now, I'm going to just flat out be honest and tell you something. There's a lot of guys that's been getting over with that, because the whole upgrade thing, right? When Madden first came out and guys wasn't getting their upgrades, that was going on in the beginning of Madden. Like, you can, whatever the goal was, you complete it and you still didn't get it. That has been stopped happening. You understand? But guys still been running that, and guys been sending stuff, and I always had suspicious thoughts about it. Me and the commissioners talked about it. But what really drove it home is that somebody actually got caught out there with the pictures that they sent. I guess they didn't know what was in the background, and they sent something that, got caught wind of. So now I know guys been lying about not getting upgrades. And I'm going to tell you what guys been doing. Guys been taking a picture of them having an upgrade, right? But the picture wasn't against who the opponent was. It was just showing that, what you had to do. So in other words, you telling me what your goal is, you just taking a picture of what the goal was, and even if you completed it 4 weeks later, you saying, yo, I completed the goal, but I didn't get the upgrade. And me being so busy, that's why I haven't been doing no fifth quarters, because I've been busy in my personal life trying to get some things shaken over here. I haven't really had time to lock in and really do work. But guys been hitting me up, and as well as other commissioners saying they haven't gotten it. But somebody slipped up, right, on top of what I already been thinking. See, they always say go with your gut, right? They always say follow your gut. Follow your first instance, right? And my first instance was like, there's too many guys saying this, because I'm just flat out be 100% honest. There has never been a goal that I completed that I haven't gotten. I'm just keeping it a buck. If I completed it, I've always gotten it. And I'm talking about the only time I didn't get it was Madden first dropped. They've been patched that up. That doesn't happen anymore. You understand? Now, granted, for what I do in my leagues, is that if you got an upcoming game, against an opponent and you had a breakout game, I tell you it carries over. You know what I mean? And that's the part that guys been getting slick with, because guys have been providing proof. So, because guys got slick, and I know there's quite a few guys that gotten over with this. So now from here on out, and it's fine if you don't do it. I mean, now only thing that means is that for whatever reason, if you don't do it, even if you complete your goal and Madden somehow don't give it to you, none of us is going to upgrade anything. So from here on out, what each and every person has to do is anytime you get a breakout game, you must take a picture of that main screen so we can see who the opponent is. Then you must take a picture of what the goal is. That's it. What you got to do. You understand? Those two simple things. It's unfortunate that it comes to this, but no matter how much I give back to the league, you always got people that want to get more, that always want to do extra. You know what I'm saying? As if what I already do ain't enough. I come up with little stuff like, Monday night games. I come up with stuff like people to gamble with to try to get up attributes or upgrade stuff. Like, there's so many things I try to do. If you play on holidays, when Christmas or something come, I'll be like, yo, if you play on this day, you get a couple. I always try to come up with something to give back to the league, right? Anything. If you playing a game cut out on you, yo, let me know who was killing. I'm gonna give you some stuff. Like, I always come up with something to give back, and it still seems like it's never enough. You understand? So I don't understand that at all. So being that, we have a lot of people in here, I ain't gonna say a lot, but being that we have a handful of people who seems to be never satisfied with no matter what you do, I'm also going to get strict on the when after the season, how you guys tell me, yo, my player was an X factor, he went down to superstar. My player was a superstar, he went down to star. I've been telling you that it depends on what he did in order to get put back. And because guys got so slick with this upgrade stuff for so long, I'm really gonna be real anal with this upgrade stuff after the season now. So in other words, what I'm basically saying is that if you got a wide receiver who was a superstar, who went down to a star, I don't care how old he is. If he went down to a star, and I go look at his stats from the previous season, and you had 2 touchdowns with 700 yards, you will not get that superstar trait back. You understand? No, I'm not saying you need to be. I'm not saying you need to be top 3 in the league. I'm not saying you need to do none of that. But you need to have it. You need to have at least a season that I can look at and say, all right, cool. You can get it. But I'm going to crack down on that. But just because I know so many guys got over with that whole I didn't get my upgrade thing. You understand? So now this is going to be my way to combat to guys getting over. And again, from here on out, whenever you got an upgrade breakout game, you got to take a picture of the main screen. You know what main screen I'm talking about? The main screen where it shows you when you can play your game, when you can look at your roster and it says breakout game or whatever. You got to take a picture of that screen so we can see who the opponent is. And then you got to go click on what you actually have to do and take a picture on that. You understand? So this way now, can't nobody get over. You understand? It's unfortunate that we have to do stuff like this, but this is what happens when you get guys that's always trying to, push the needle, that's always trying to get slick and get over, that always seem like no matter what you do is not enough. Like, I always try to find little things to do for the league to give back, to help people out, especially bottom teams. I come up with things like play spoiler, even if you're out the playoffs, if you play a team that's fighting to get in, I say, yo, you get something just for playing, you get even more for playing and winning. I always come up with stuff like that. So nobody can never say, I only look out for guys that win, or only look out for guys that lose. I look out for every person that's in the league. And even with that, you still get guys that still try to get slick and get over and do a little sneaky stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which is not a good look at all. But, hey, what I'm going to do? Sit here and complain about it? It's spilled milk. You understand? Only thing I can do is talk about what's going to happen moving forward. And what's going to happen moving forward is what I told you. You're going to have to take 2 pictures, the picture of the main screen and the picture of the actual goal of what you have to do. That's all you have to do. Outside of that, if you choose to do one of the two, or you say you forgot to do either of the two, and you say, "Yo, I got it. I forgot to take pictures, and it didn't reward me." Guess what? I'm not upgrading anything, and neither are any other commissioners. So keep that in mind moving forward. What else I wanted to, yeah, so that was pretty much the big thing that I wanted to talk on, man. But I was very disappointed, I can't lie, because it's just like no matter how much you try to do for your league, you get guys that still choose to do things to try to violate rules and do certain things, so that's not
Can you take the thing off
that's
the
not
phone all the way?
that's not something that I'm crazy about telling y'all that y'all gotta do, but I gotta do that in order to have things run a certain way. Give me 1 second, fellas. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I already went and took I went downstairs and took the clothes out already, so we good. But yeah, so yeah, man, like I said, that's not something that I'm crazy about telling y'all that y'all got to do, because I know there's many of y'all that do things the right way, but I can't say yo, these guys got to do this and these guys don't. When I make up something, they got to apply for everybody, every last one of us. So that's the situation with that, man. But yeah, guys been getting over for a while with that, but listen, the spilled milk. Only thing you can do is just focus on what you can do moving forward. You can't get caught up in what already happened. So that's the situation with that. But other than that, man, that was about it, really. I'm about to get to these predictions and recap now. That's pretty much what I need to touch on. So yeah, anybody that's in AGS or ITT, you could sign off now, because now I'm going to take care of the playoffs over here in this wit screen that we're looking at. But I just want to touch up on that, give y'all a heads up, and let y'all know what was going on moving forward. So yeah, over here in this playoffs that we're looking at with Wit, we are in the conference championship round. Interesting games went down, couple of blowouts, couple of tight ones. And when playoffs come, anything can happen. I always say, don't really matter. It don't really matter about it don't matter what rank you are, what seeding you are. Everybody's 0-0, and it's a 1-game elimination tournament, So we're going back to the wild card round. We had the Giants win against the Panthers. Giants won this one 34-20. He took out Money Mascot. Big Game James, man, I always say that he don't get enough credit for the work that he puts in, and it's basically because he's never in the chat as much as many others, but he's definitely a baller, man. He's definitely a baller, and like I say, me personally, I don't get caught up in how many Super Bowls somebody won. I look at things like, how many, do you make the playoffs consistently? Do you compete when you make the playoffs? I look at those type of things, because you can't judge somebody off of how many Super Bowls they won. And only one person can win a Super Bowl. You understand? So what does that mean? The rest of the league or the rest of the guys that made the playoffs or who made a deep run is not acknowledged? I mean, that's that's so far from the truth that, I can't even begin to explain. So Big Game James is definitely somebody that I feel like is definitely a top guy in the league as well as the NFC. But he took out Money Mascot. We already know Money Mascot can definitely light it up. But he pretty much he dominated in this one, I want to say. Only gave up 20 points, scored 34. Great win for the G-Men. Then over here in the AFC, we had the Dolphins. Jeter went against my boy BJ, who took over this Browns team during the season. And I know Browns got blown out in this one, 52-30. But I'm telling you, for y'all that don't know, BJ last Madden, BJ was one of the worst guys in the league. BJ has jumped miles ahead of some guys. There are guys that haven't made the playoffs at all this Madden, and there are guys who probably didn't make the playoffs last Madden as well. When you combine Maddens, they probably got one playoff experience, one playoff run, and BJ jumped ahead a lot of guys, man. So I got to give BJ his props. I mean, in this one, his defense let him down. He scored 30 points. Most of the times when you feel like you scored 30 points, that should be enough to win, especially if you believe in your defense. So his defense let him down. He went against high-powered offense over there with the Miami team. But I got to tip my hat to Browns, man. I've always been riding with BJ just because I always respected him. Last Madden, when he took the worst beatings as you can take, I never seen him quit, never seen him jump in the chat, crying, complaining. That goes a long way with me, and that's why I've been one of his biggest cheerleaders, since he joined, and even more now. And I was rooting for him. And yeah, he lost, you know what I'm saying? But don't matter. He made the playoffs, he realized what he got to tighten up on moving forward. And the fact that he's making the playoffs now lets me know he realizes what he got to get better in. And he's one of them guys that I see can make the changes. But Miami came in, didn't put itself in a position to get upset alerted, and he balled out. He won 52-30. Moving on to this one between myself and Cardinals, this game, I seen Relly said the cast cut off, but man, oh man, did I almost send Relly in Heartbreak Hotel. We was down 16-0. We was down 16-0 in this game in the second half, and we came back. We actually had the ball. We actually had the ball again late in the game with like under a minute left, and we threw a pick that sealed it. But man, if we almost pulled out a crazy comeback in this one. Many didn't see it because the cast cut off, but I'm telling you now, if the Cardinals would have lost this game, he would have been sick even going into next season. But nevertheless, he got the job done. You understand? I'm getting back into the swing of things, and one of the things that I've seen, this is how you know somebody like me, right? When I tell you I'm somebody that just get on and play, I don't do no research on nothing. I've been playing much better ball my last few games than I have the past couple of weeks, right? Because I literally just be jumping on and playing and getting off. I haven't been time to do fifth quarter. I haven't been time to do anything, right? I've been doing something crazy that I don't even want to mention because I'm pretty sure most of y'all know for yourselves. But if anybody don't know, I'm not trying to hit it, throw no gems. I've been screwing myself like crazy by doing something. And the past couple of games, it just stuck out to me like, why do I keep doing this? And I made a small adjustment, and it's the biggest adjustment I could have made. So for the longest, I've been killing my own self, and I'm speaking about defense, by the way. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I ain't going to say nothing else. But man, have I been killing myself big time lately by not paying attention to stuff, And I'm glad I finally, figured out what I was doing. So, for me, it's definitely time to get locked back in and to start, playing some better ball. But Cards won this one. His defense played good. He made some big plays. He won this game. He moved on to the next round. Then we had Titans and Bills. I can't tell you how many times these two has played in the first round, the second round, probably more than anybody else. And Bills won this one 36-29. I don't know who's winning this head-to-head matchup. I kind of feel like personally, whoever is winning the head-to-head matchup is probably only by a few games. And what I'm basically saying is that if they played each other 10 times, whoever's winning, whoever won the most out of 10, I'm saying it's probably like 6-4, something like that. You know, it's kind of seems like they go back and forth a lot. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just something that I think I remember. But in any case, man, you know, when you face in the playoffs, you don't care about, you know, what happened in the past. You're only worrying about what's right now. And Buffalo won this one 36-29. This is a good win for Buffalo because you know, these two, they always talking slick to each other. So this is personal whenever they play, especially on this stage. Regular season, but playoffs, that's something different. You know, Buffalo pulled out a big win. He moved on to the next round. He won 36-29. And then on to the last game in the NFC, we had Falcons and Lions. This was a good game. Murph and Addison. Addison is definitely another user who's a good user. Many wouldn't know about him because he's another one that don't be in the chat beating his chest. But again, doesn't take away from his game. Very solid player, you know. Doesn't beat himself a lot. A lot of times you have to beat him, you know. And I know what I just said. Probably some of y'all going to take minor, but that's a very big statement what I just said. He's a guy that don't really beat himself. You have to beat him, and that's the problem that a lot of guys make. A lot of guys beat themselves, throwing a ton of interceptions, a ton of bad calls. You know, Addison is a pretty smart player, you know, and it shows. He's pretty consistent, you know. I ain't gonna say pretty. He is consistent, you know, and he too is a baller, you know. Murph is a vet, OG, you know what it takes to get there to pull games out. Murph is one of them guys that'll pull out a game, whether it's 6-3, 9-6, or whether it's 45-41. You know, Murph is one of them guys that, you know, he knows how to get it done. He knows how to get a big play when it's time to. So, you know, he been there, done that. He moved on, took out the Falcons, and he moved on to the next round. And moving on to the next round, we had, we're going to start over here in NFC. We had Packers. P.E. Earl went against the Lions. Oh, might I add, the Packers are still undefeated, by the way. You know, Packers are undefeated. He went on against the Lions. This was a good game. I haven't watched not one game, to be honest. I'm just going off of what the final score says. For all I know, Lions could have been getting blown out, and they just went on a crazy scoring streak in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I'm going by the final score. Final score says it's a close game. Packers won this one 31-24. In the beginning of what I remember, Lions had Packers number. Kind of seemed like the roles has changed. The roles has changed now, and now it seems like, oh wow, I definitely forgot about you, but I'll get to that. I'll go back to that. I know I forgot something. It just totally slipped me, but yeah, I missed that. But yeah, so Packers, man, he's undefeated still. Definitely looking like he's the favorite right now, I must say, to win the whole thing. But, you know, I got to tell you, when you're undefeated, the deeper you go, the more pressure kind of builds up, right? I mean, nobody's going to come out and say it. Everybody's going to come out and say no pressure. But it is little pressure because you start feeling like if you don't win, it was a waste, right? You know, especially if you go all the way to the Super Bowl, you undefeated. And the first game you lose, and the only game you lose is in the Super Bowl that ended your season. That's tough, you know. But the good side for the Packers is that he's a vet. He's been here many times. He knows what it takes to get here. He actually made the Super Bowl last year and lost in the Super Bowl to the Browns. But this year he's back with a vengeance. He's undefeated. But he's still got two more steps, two more hurdles he's gotta climb over. But he took out the Lions in this one, 31-24 to move on. I missed the wild card game between Ravens and Chargers, so I want to go back on that real quick. Again, I didn't watch no games going by the final score. Final score, this one tells me Ravens dominated, which is pretty surprising because DK is a good user, you know. Even if I got a chance to do predictions and I took the Ravens to win this one, honestly speaking, I would have picked a score of probably like 34-30, 35-31, or even 31-27, right? I would have never thought the score would have ended like this. So this says a lot about Ravens. Because Chargers got a good team over there, and they dominated this game from top to bottom. The 13 points tells me that. The 13 points tells me the defense played better than the offense. So I got to give Ravens his props. He's on one right now. He scored 38 the first round, and then you look up the next round, he scored 39. But Ravens is looking like one of them teams. They're looking like they're on a mission. So I had to go back and touch on that one real quick for the wild card because I missed that. And now we move up to the conference and the AFC conference. I mean, the divisional round. We're in the divisional round. And in the divisional round, we had the Bills and Bengals. I didn't even know that they played. I didn't know who won until I just, as I typed it in, I was going live for the fifth quarter. I seen, a couple of references. Well, I seen the Bills had to play the Ravens, and then I scrolled up a little bit and I seen there was a lot of talking going on in the chat. I always tell you it's a gift and a curse with number one seed, right? Because the good news is you get the bye, so you don't got to worry about risking injuries, and when you play, you are hosting the home game. But sometimes I said the curse is, when you play in the wild card round, yeah, you out there in the trenches, but you actually playing with momentum going into the next round, right? Because let's face it, if you're the number one seed, chances are the final week of the season didn't really matter. You probably didn't even get to play it. And then now, because depending on who the opponent is, the opponent might just say, yo, take the win. Or even if you play your opponent, you're probably not really going to play your starters like that. So you're not really locked in. And then when the playoffs start, you got to bye. So that's a lot of time off to really getting into what you got to do. So I always talk about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I got a chance to be number one seed, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to say, well, I don't want to be number one seed. I'm just going to play in the wild card. But I do know playing the wild card can give you momentum going into the next round. I always talk about that. And this, I don't want to say this is the prime example of that because I didn't see the game. I don't know what happened to say that. But I do know that that's something that's possible. Now, first I want to say Bengals number one seed. He lost, but he had a good season. Number one seed. This is not what you want, though. You don't want the number one seed, then the first game you play the playoffs, you get eliminated. That's almost like getting eliminated in the wild card round, right? It's the same thing. Your first game is the wild card, you lose, season over. Well, kind of the same thing when you got to bye. First game, fresh off the bye, you lose, season over, right? But, I mean, listen, it happens, right? Like I say, man, only one team can win the Super Bowl. This is why I don't get caught up in saying, if you didn't win, you didn't have a good, everybody, you got to look at where you went, how you competed, what you did, right? All those things matter, right? Only one team can hold up the trophy. That's just what it is. But good win for Buffalo, nevertheless. I got to give him his props. He the number 6 seed, which buffers my point about doesn't really matter what seed you are, right? A lot of the times it's always about matchups and it's about momentum. Right? Don't matter about 6th seed, 7th seed. I've seen 7th seed go to Super Bowls as well as 6th seed. I've seen 7th, 6th seeds win Super Bowls. I've seen number 1 seeds lose in the first round like they did now. So it can happen. It can happen. Bottom line is when playoffs come, anything can happen. It could be a big fumble. It could be a big call. Anything could happen to change the game around. But again, I can't really talk about what happened in this game because I didn't see it. I'm only going by final score. And Buffalo won this one. He moved on to the AFC chip, to the Final Four. Great win for Buffalo. I know he's coming out to this game with a ton of confidence. But, at the end of the day, it's not the Super Bowl. So no matter how much of a good win it is, you now have to get locked in for a Ravens team that's sitting there licking their chops, waiting for their opponent patiently. And now that the Ravens know, Ravens will be ready. So now Buffalo going to have to forget about the game he just won, and he's going to have to lock in and face a Baltimore team who I believe he's 0-2 or 0-3 against in the playoffs. This ain't the first time these two met in the AFC chip. We had the other week that we had to reboot, but if I'm not mistaken, they've met on this stage twice, I would say. Or if not on this stage, definitely in the playoffs itself, and like in the divisional round or something. But I can't recall Buffalo beating Baltimore yet. So Buffalo going to have to get locked in and get prepared for a Baltimore machine that's waiting for them. Now swinging over to the NFC matchup, in my opinion, the surprising the round, of this divisional round. The most surprising game of this divisional round, that's the Cardinals and Giants. If I had a chance to do predictions, honestly speaking, I would have took the Giants to win this game, right? Doesn't matter what the final score would have been. I would have took it to been close. I'll tell you that, right? But even if I did take the Cardinals to win this game, I would not have took the Cardinals to win this game in the fashion that he won this game, right? I tell you, it's amazing what you can do with an opportunity. I'm telling you now, I almost sent the Cardinals home in Heartbreak Hotel. I'm telling you, he was real close, right? But it doesn't matter. Almost doesn't count. He won, he moved on. And look what he's doing with the opportunity. He's now found himself in the Final Four. Opportunity goes a long way. It's what you're going to do with it, right? Cardinals dominated this game. It looks like, for my matter of fact, he reached out to me and told me he came back and won this game. He said he was down 14-0, right? Which means that he went on a 48-0 run. That's impressive. That's the most impressive victory by far that I'm looking at, not only in this round, but I'm going to say the playoffs. You know, to go down 14-0, a lot of guys is going to just bury their head, lose confidence, and probably get steamrolled, right? There are a few guys who don't do things like that. Let me tell you something. Newsflash. There are guys that consider themselves a top guy. They go down 14-0, they done. You understand? A lot of guys know how to look pretty when they on top. But when they got to fight from the bottom, it's a difference, right? You know how in real football, right, they talk about, I want to see how this quarterback plays when he's trailing, right? Some guys play good when they up early, and some guys play better when they're down early. That's just what it is. You understand? And I'm going to tell you now, you know, regardless of what you say about Relly, he's one of the guys that, you know, just because he's down, he's not really going to give up, you know, until it's time to give up. But on this stage, to be down 14-0, that's pretty impressive. You know, I don't know what happened in this game. I don't know what happened mentally to Big Game James. I don't know, once the game got tied up, if he just felt like everything was against him. I don't know, because I didn't see the game. I didn't see no games, you know, so I can't comment and tell you what changed the game around. Only thing I know, because Relly told me, is that Giants was up 14-0, and Giants didn't pull it out, you know. So second half meltdown, Big Game James, yeah, I would say, but again, I didn't see it. But, you know, again, I always say Big Game James, in my opinion, is one of the top guys in this league, you know. So again, you know, as bad as this loss is for him, guess what happens next season? Big Game James going to come around and he's going to play good ball again, right? But I will say this is a tough one. You know, what makes tough losses in the playoffs is that there is no tomorrow. See, if he would have lost like this in regular season, you say, all right, whoever I play next week, I'm taking this out on them. But there is no next week in the playoffs. It's a long off season, right? You got to let this thing linger. The last time you was on the field is you had a bad loss. That got to linger all the way over to next season. That's what makes tough playoff losses extra tough, because they linger. You know, there is no next week opponent. You know, if you lose, that is. If you lose, that's it. You just going to have to wait till next season, you know, and you got to figure out everything that went wrong and all the changes you got to make, just like real teams, you know. Like, it's crazy because we do the fifth quarter and stuff on Madden, right? It's just a video game. Imagine the pros. Imagine the real players. You think they want to go home? You think they cutting on ESPN after a tough playoff loss? Of course not. I tell you right now, the Eagles just played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to bet not one Philadelphia Eagle, when they got home, watched any sports shows. You understand? That's a tough one. That's a tough one, the way they lost. And that's the real deal. That's all type of emotions tied into real life. And I know guys on here don't want to hear the fifth quarter after a tough loss. So imagine how the pros feel. You know, guys don't want to hear nothing about the way they lost. You know, but this just adds to the league. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Big Game James, he took a tough one, man. He took a tough one to chin after being up 14-0 and lost in a 48-0 run. That's big. But same thing goes for the Cards, like I said about Bills. Good win, good comeback win. as great as it was, guess what? It wasn't the Super Bowl. So now the Cards got to forget about the win he just had. That's last week. It's on to a new week. He too, like, you know, the funny thing is, as great as a win that it was and a great comeback that it was, it's like, what's his reward? His reward is, oh, good win. By the way, you got a team that's 17-0, or at this point, what is he? 18-0 waiting for you, right? That's the reward for coming back winning from trailing 14-0. Your reward is you got a team that's 18-0 waiting for you. But guess what? It's a task that if you want to get to the big dance, this is the tree that you got to climb. You know, Pearl made the Super Bowl last year, so you better believe he's trying to get back there again. Styles make fights. I always say that. I'm telling you now, the last few times Relly's played Pearl, win, lose, or draw, the game's been close. And I may be wrong what I'm about to say, but to my recollection, I think Relly has actually beat Pearl more times the last few times than Pearl's beat him. Don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. I just kind of feel like going back to AGS, because they in the same division, I kind of feel like Relly's beaten Pearl more times lately than Pearl has beaten him. I don't know. Pearl, you saying, nah, all right, correct me. I mean, you know, that's just how I felt, but I've been out of the loop, so I ain't been paying attention too much. But I know that y'all been having a lot of close games. That much I do know. So with that being said, even though the Packers undefeated, I do think it's going to be a good game. But I'm going to say this, though. The Cardinals' offense is going to have to show up, right? That offense is going to have to show up because as good as defense really is, Packers is going to get some points. The Cardinals is going to have to at least get, in my opinion, anywhere between 21 and 24 or more, right? That's my opinion. I don't think the Cardinals are going to win this game by a score of 17-13, anything like that. That is a high-powered oil machine over there in Green Bay. And Pearl is a pretty solid defensive player, too. You know, so I think Pearl defense don't get talked about enough. Pearl is a pretty good defensive player. As much as you always talk about he can score, he's a pretty smart defensive player. So the Cardinals are going to have to come and play their best ball of the season. What they did to get here at this point no longer matters. What the comeback they just had doesn't matter, because if they lose this game, they no longer care about the win they had against the Giants. They're going to be feeling the way that they just lost to the Packers. So this is what matters. Yeah, so now we are in the divisional round. Oh, no, I didn't do Ravens and Dolphins, right? Yeah, I didn't do Ravens and Dolphins. Ravens and Dolphins, like I said, the Ravens put up damn near 40 points the first game. He put up 39 is 40, the same to me. 39 is 40. He put up 40 points the second game against the Dolphins. Once again, I think the Dolphins' defense played just as good as the offense, just like it did the first week of the playoffs, a wild card round. Jeter is the Dolphins' solid player, real good user, nice team over here in Miami, but didn't show up. Defense let him down, and offense let him down. But again, that's a credit to Baltimore's defense, because as you can see, Baltimore gave up 13 points against the Chargers, and now they only gave up 20 points. So Baltimore defense right now is balling out. And, you know, I think that's something that if I'm Buffalo, you can't just worry about Buffalo's offense. You're going to have to figure out some ways to put up some points against this Baltimore defense, because this defense is playing pretty stingy right now. So Ravens moved on to face the Bills. And just by looking at it, I say the two teams that's looking like destiny is Ravens and Packers, right? But again, that doesn't mean anything, because you look at a team like Buffalo, right? 6 seed. Every game they play right now has been on the road, right? They went into Tennessee and won. They went into Cincy and won. Now they going to Baltimore, right? So every game for them has been on the road. So right now they're looking like road warriors. So they can be looked at as a team as destiny. Again, what favors Baltimore, in my opinion, in that matchup is that Buffalo has yet to beat them. Now, I always tell you, there's good news and bad news about win streaks, right? The good news and bad news about win streaks is that they all come to an end, whether they win streaks or losing streaks. If you're on a win streak, you got to figure you're going to have to lose one sooner or later. And if you're on a losing streak, you got to figure you're going to win one sooner or later. Baltimore is on a personal win streak against Buffalo. That could be good, that could be bad, right? Because if you Baltimore, you rather the loss come in the regular season, right? And if you Buffalo, you rather you break that losing streak in the playoffs. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. And being that I'm already talking about them, I'm just going to stay here. So we got Bills on the road once again against B-More. It's pretty hard to get to the bowl 3 consecutive road games. You know, I don't think Buffalo has any major injuries as Baltimore. So both teams look like they will face off fully strength. So now it's just time to say who I think going to go into this one. I like Buffalo chances. I'm not going to lie to you. I definitely like their chances because I think DP is a pretty smart player. You know, playing smart gets you just as far as having all these crazy plays, right? Because playing smart, you really understand the do's and don'ts. You understand? And DP is one of those guys. But with that being said, I can't lie. I like the way this Baltimore defense is playing right now. This defense is on one. You know, the 38, 39 points, all right, cool. You know, I understand that's nothing to you know, bypass neither. But the defense is what's alarming right now. The defense is playing another level. So I got to get an edge to Baltimore. They're at home too. So I got to go B-More to win this one over Buffalo, man. I don't know, man. I want to say a close one. I'm hoping for a close game at least, you know. And I'm going to tell you right now, these two, like I told you, these two has played each other quite a few times in the playoffs. Buffalo has yet to win. I think if Buffalo get blown out in this game, I think this is going to do something, really do something to his psyche moving forward against Baltimore. Remember, I said blown out. If he lose in a close one, all right, cool. He's still going to know, like, dang, we haven't beat this dude yet. But if he compete, you can live with that. Yo, dang, we had it. We that one bad pick or whatever, that one bad stop we didn't get messed us up, right? You can live with that. But if he gets steamrolled in this one, that is not going to be good for the psyche moving forward. Translation, if they meet each other in the playoffs next year, Buffalo's going to blow the doors off the hinges off the door against Buffalo. That's my take on that. So my opinion, Buffalo cannot get blown out in this game for the psyche moving forward. He has to compete, even if he don't win. He cannot get steamrolled in this one because he's already on a losing streak against Baltimore. Now, with that being said, I'm taking Baltimore to win this game. But I am going to say, I think Buffalo, because what he did to Cincinnati, I think Buffalo comes to this game with a ton of confidence. And I think he keeps it fairly competitive. But I still think Baltimore comes out and wins. I'm taking B-More, and again, I like the way Buffalo defense been playing as well. So I'm taking B-More to win this one. I'm going to go 27-20. 27-20, B-More over Buffalo, and I got B-More going to the bowl. Now we move over to the NFC. We got the undefeated Packers going against the number 3 seed Cardinals. Cardinals is now on the road. Well, Cardinals on the road last week too. But yeah, he's on the road once again. He's going into Lambeau. This is a desert team. They love the sunny weather. They're going into a frigid, cold, possibly snowy storm out in Lambeau. That doesn't fares well for Arizona. Relly is a better runner than he is passer. And I think playing in this temperature and this weather in Green Bay is always better to be able to run the ball. I think the Packers will key in on the running game, and I think the Cardinals are going to have a hard time out in Lambeau, you know. But I know Relly holds his head on defense, you know. So I think he'll come in. I think he'll compete. But I got Green Bay, man. I can't lie. They undefeated to 18-0. I just got them. I just got them winning this one, and I got Green Bay winning this one by a final score of, man, I'm gonna keep it competitive though. I'm gonna keep it competitive. But this too, Pearl said he's not really out the playoffs. I think he said the last 4 times. So I think the Cardinals in the same position like Buffalo. He can't get blown out in this one. If he lose, he lose, But if you know one specific team has been knocking you out, the last thing you want to do is get steamrolled by them. That's going to do something to the psyche also moving forward. So Cardinals got to compete, even if he lose. I'm going to give him his just due, and I'm going to have this game down to be competitive, but I'm still going with Green Bay to win this one. I'm going Green Bay to win this game by a final score of, I'm going to go 26 to, I'm going to go 26-16. 10-point win for the Packers. I got Green Bay going to the bowl to face B-More. 1 seed against 5 seed. And that's gearing up for interesting Super Bowl. So there you have it. I did the recap. I did the predictions. I got Ravens facing the Packers in the bowl. But again, this is just predictions. For all you know, it could be Bills and Cardinals in the bowl, You don't know. Games got to get played. Don't matter what I say about anything, So only thing is time left to do is sit back, see how this game shake out, get ready for next season, and, keep this ball rolling. Remember everything that I said in the early part of this video about upgrade games. Anybody that tuned in late that didn't hear what I said when the video first started, go back to the beginning. I tapped in talking about, from now on, what you got to do when you got breakout games. So just go, tune into that. Congratulations to everybody that made the playoffs. Congratulations to everybody that's at this stage of the playoffs. And Final Four. Let's get this over with. Let's get ready for 2024 season and let the chips fall where they may. I'll tap in with y'all. I definitely would like to get a 5th quarter for the Super Bowl. And I see you on the next 5th quarter. I'm out.